Okay, so we can have, we need to make some adjustments at the end of a period. And so there are changes that occurred to the business during the accounting period, which we may be talking a month or a fiscal year, but in any case, those changes occur that not necessarily are recorded. So equipment, we're using equipment, we use up some insurance, we use up some supplies, employees earn wages that haven't been paid yet by the end of the month. So these things are happening and they're not being recorded. And so we have to do adjusting entries to get these kinds of things put into the books. We have a thing that is called the matching principle. And the matching principle is a major part of the accrual basis of accounting, which is what is required by GAAP. Remember that GAAP is generally accepted accounting principles. We learned that in chapter 1. Okay, and that is required by law by all public companies, and then it's also required even if you have a small private company. The minute you go to the bank to get financing, they're going to say you must use GAAP. So that's mainly what we use in Accounting 101, is to learn about GAAP. Now, the matching principle is a main part of GAAP, and it wants us to have the revenues that we earn during a certain period to be recorded in that period. It doesn't care when we got the cash. So if we mow Mrs. Smith's lawn at the end of May, but she doesn't pay us until she gets her Social Security check in early June, okay, those revenues were actually earned in May because we did the job in May. So that should be recorded in the journals, posted to the ledger, that revenue for May, even though we didn't get the cash. So we would debit accounts receivable and credit sales or mowing fees earned in May. Then in June, when we actually received the cash, we would debit cash and credit accounts receivables. But the revenue would be recorded when we got it earned. The expenses are recorded when they're incurred. That kind of means when we got the bill, when we actually used whatever it was, okay? And so the expenses then will help to match into the same period. The expenses of May would be matching into the same period as the revenues they help to create in May. So that's the matching principle, and it's part of GAAP. Now, if you're a small private company that does not use GAAP and isn't required by your bank or the law, then you could use the cash basis instead of the accrual basis. The cash basis doesn't have the matching principle. So you can wait till June, and that's when you receive the money from Mrs. Smith. That's when you would debit cash and you would credit sales, and that would be all you would do. And the expenses, you would record those, whatever is the month that you paid them. You wouldn't worry about when you used the lights and got the bill for the lights. You would wait until you paid the light bill, and then you would debit utilities expense. That's the cash basis. That's not what we learn in Accounting 101. So this matching principle does provide the best measure of net income. That's part of why it's part of GAAP, okay? But it requires then that we check every single account and bring it up to date, okay, using this matching principle before the financial statements are prepared. The financial statements is our communication to the interested user of our financial information. Now here talks about a fiscal year. We can have a fiscal year be any 12-month period to be used as our accounting period. And when the company is first started, that's when this decision would be made. If you're in a sole proprietor, the IRS requires that your fiscal year is January 1st to December 31st. And but if you're a corporation, then you might have a fiscal year that goes from June 1st to May 31st, and that's your fiscal bookkeeping year. So that would be okay. At the end of the fiscal year, you are required by GAAP to count all your inventory. So if you're a company that has products and they're all on your shelves, if you were Walmart, you have a zillion products on the shelves across the country, and at the end of your fiscal year, you have to count every single product, okay, and calculate out how much cost you have in those, okay? And so you're going to want, on that day, the end of your fiscal year, when you got to do that counting, you want that to be the lowest amount of inventory possible. And so a lot of times, a lot of those big retail stores have a fiscal year that ends in, say, the end of February or something, because that's when they feel like their inventory is at the lowest level. So it's at the end of February when they're going to the end of their fiscal years when they're doing a lot of these adjusting entries. Now, we can also do adjusting entries at the end of each month, but the main big ones will be at the end of the fiscal year. If you're a sole proprietor, that'll be on December 31st. Okay, so here we're going to take a look at the campus, Amanda's campus delivery, okay, and during June, the business purchased supplies for $80, okay. These were debited to the supplies account and back on early June or whatever. So now, at the end of the month, the balance in the trial balance is $80 still. It's saying this is an asset, supplies. And it's saying we own supplies of $80. Okay? But somebody went and looked in the supplies cabinet and there's only $20 left of supplies at the end of June. So obviously my books are no longer correct. I've been using up some of these supplies during the month, and now there's only $20 left on hand. Okay? So my bookkeeping needs to match reality. So I need to get the part of the supplies that I used out of there. Okay? So we have to do an adjusting entry. That's what this is all about. So how much supplies did we use? Well, we had $80 to begin with. We got $20 left over at the end of the month, so we must have used up $60. Okay, so that $60 needs to come out of the supplies account. We no longer own that $60. It got used. Okay, so we need to credit the supplies account. What are we going to debit? Well, our debits always have to equal our credits. Okay, so what are we going to debit? Well, whenever we use something, that's an expense. So we're going to have an account called supplies expense. And that's where the $60 is going to go to show that we used $60. This $60 credit in the asset shows that we no longer own that $60 because assets are all about what we own. The supplies expense account is all about what did we use. It happens to be the same number, okay? We use $60 of supplies. So now the balance, once we take our big number minus the small number, put it on the side of the big number, we have a balance in our books on our ledger of $20. And now that matches my asset called supplies in the books, matches my reality in the actual cabinet. Okay, and our supplies expense is going to have a balance of 60 debit. That will go on the income statement as an expense to be subtracted. Here's another one. During June, the business paid $200 for an 8-month liability insurance policy. Coverage beginning on June the 1st. Okay, so when we bought the policy, we had debited $200 to prepaid insurance. This is an asset. We own this policy. And we would have credited cash at the time. Okay? Now, this policy is going to cover us for 8 months from liabilities. Customer gets hurt or something, and they sue us, this liability insurance is going to pay them so that we don't have to pay thousands of dollars. So most businesses have a liability insurance policy to cover themselves. Okay? So, but now it's at the end of June. Okay? I no longer own $200 whole dollars. If I took this policy back and say, I don't want this anymore, I want my money back, they would say, well, you used a whole month. Even if we didn't have a claim, they covered us for that month. Now, they would give us the other 7 months. This is an 8-month policy. They would give us the other 7 months' money back, but not the month that we already used. So we have to figure out, well, how much did we use? Okay, so I take the $200 we paid for the policy, divide it by the 8 months it covers. That means we're roughly covering $25 a month. So that $25 has to come out of the asset. We no longer own that part of the policy. So I have to credit it out of the asset. I used $25 in June, so that $25 has to go into an insurance expense account. Okay, so I'm going to debit insurance expense and credit prepaid insurance. Now my balance in the asset is $175. If I took this policy back and say I no longer need this, I would roughly get $175 back from the insurance company, because that's how much I still own that I hadn't used yet. Now they might, give me some kind of fee for having taken it back early. And we would have $25 showing as the fact that we used